monsters, and welcome to the Horror Files. I am your host, Ed Live Dana, and on this podcast, I dive into a particular horror movie each episode, providing insights and reviews as well as the latest in horror movie news. And for this episode, we have a mystery wrapped up inside a single dead and very nude body, a story of bells, charred internal organs, spooky dark hallways, and a witch who is not done seeking her revenge. That's right, monsters. I will be talking about the 2016 supernatural horror, The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
This is not what I was expecting. Can I see one?
No.
What's that for?
Make sure he's dead.
Sheriff, what happened?
No ID, no fingerprints in the system.
For now, she's a Jane Doe.
He needs my help right now. 11 o'clock, I'm all yours. Subject is in her mid to late 20s. Hair brown.
Flash flood warning now.
Eyes gray.
What happened to you?
First, they bound her. Then they ripped out her tongue, poisoned her, paralyzed her, forced her to swallow the cloth. What is that? Dad?
No one could see what we have seen.
So IMDb describes the plot for The Autopsy of Jane Doe as follows. Father and son coroners investigate the death of a beautiful Jane Doe. This film was directed by Andre Ovredal, written by Ian Goldberg and Richard Nang, and stars Brian Cox, Emile Hirsch, Ophelia Lovibond, and Olwen Catherine Kelly as Jane Doe. So, before I get into things here, just a couple little things. One of the reasons Olwen Catherine Kelly was selected for her role as Jane Doe was her knowledge of yoga, which actually helped her control her body and breathing during these long scenes where she's, basically has to remain motionless on a slab. And although there are some prosthetics used, of course, a real actress, played the part of Jane Doe, and the director felt that it was necessary to have a live actress for the part to help connect the audience on a human level. And on some level, the decision was also a practical one, as Overdal believed that doing some of the close-up scenes with a prosthetic would have been impossible. And I agree. I think that if you use too much of like a fake person, I think the illusion really would have been shattered. And the song playing throughout the movie is called Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sunshine In. And it was performed by the Cowboy Church Sunday School. And the version used is the 45 RPM recording played at 33 1/3. And it's creepy. It's definitely got a, tiptoe through the tulips vibe like Insidious had. So please be advised there will be spoilers. So we open on a house, kind of looks like a ruralish area, and the corpse of an unidentified young woman is found at the scene of an inexplicable multiple homicide. We just are kind of going through the house and we see a lot of blood. We see lots of bullet holes and we see dead people. And then we see this naked dead woman who's found in the basement. It looks like, and it's one of those dirt basements. So, hard to say. Was she trying to be buried or was she dug up? We kind of don't know. And I'll get into that a little bit later on. But the Sheriff Burke, finds no signs of forced entry. And the other Lieutenant Wade, suggests that the victims were actually trying to escape. So we then meet Emma, who goes to visit her boyfriend, Austin, and his father, Tommy. Austin is played by Emile Hirsch, and Tommy is played by the incredible Brian Cox, who a lot of you will know from, what don't you know him from? That guy's in everything. And they both are coroners. And Emma decides to visit Austin because they were going to go out, and she has some questions about their methods and particularly about their use of bells.
What's that for?
Make sure he's dead. There used to be a time it was hard to tell a comatose person from a dead one. So coroners tied bells to every body in the morgue. So if they heard a ting, they knew somebody down there wasn't quite ready to go.
So why do you have one?
Well, I'm a bit of a traditionalist.
Why do you cover his face?
There wasn't much of a face left to cover. Point blank gunshot blasts tend to do that.
Who shot him?
Angle of entry suggests he did it to himself until we found strychnine in his system. Judging by the progress it made through his bloodstream, he was already dead by the time somebody blew his face off.
Why would anyone do that?
Oh, you sound like your boyfriend. Leave the why to the cops and the shrinks. We're just here to find cause of death. No more, no less.
You don't want to see that.
It's all right.
So Sheriff Burke finally arrives at the coroner and he comes with the body of Jane Doe, and he tells Tommy that he needs the cause of death by morning because it's a multiple homicide. They have no idea what's happened here. So basically he's going to have to stay there all night and figure out what happened. And so because of this, Austin postpones his date with Emma to help his father, promising to meet her later that evening. Now, Tommy and Austin perform the autopsy, and very quickly they become confused. Her waist shows signs that she had worn a corset for most of her life. The time of death is impossible to determine because the lack of rigor mortis, and there's still blood flowing in her veins. And both of those suggest that the death has only just occurred. But the cloudiness of her eye suggests that she's been dead for several days. There are no external visible signs of trauma, but her wrist and ankle bones are shattered, and her tongue has been very crudely cut out.
Nasal passages, no sign of inflammation, no fluid, and no foreign substances. And ear canals are clear. Oh, I hadn't expected that.
Tongue has been
Severed. Crudely, non-surgically.
Wish she could have bitten it off. She ODs on something tensed
These
up.
aren't bite marks. See, striations. Huh? I've seen something like this before. About 15 years back, human trafficking around Norfolk. 2 girls, hands and feet bound tight to keep them from running. Cut out their tongues for making too much
I
noise.
think this was some kind of a prostitution thing.
Can't rule it out.
So one of her molars is missing. Her lungs are blackened as though she had suffered third-degree burns, and her internal organs reveal numerous scarring from stabs. Also, Jimson weed, which is a paralyzing agent that's native to New England, is also found in her stomach. So that's weird right off the bat. And after these are discovered, other mysterious events start to occur. The radio spontaneously changes stations and starts playing that, Sunshine song. Austin thinks that he's seeing people standing in the morgue's hallway. And when he goes to investigate, he finds their cat, Stanley. Poor Stanley has been killed somehow. And, he's not dead, but he's basically pretty much there. So Tommy kind of puts him out of his misery, and they reluctantly take him down and incinerate the corpse. So continuing the autopsy, Tommy finds that the woman's missing tooth is wrapped in a piece of cloth in her stomach. The cloth has Roman numerals, letters, and an odd diagram. Similar symbols are also found drawn on the inside of her skin. So all the lights in the room suddenly explode, and during the confusion, they realize other corpses in the morgue have gone missing. So they decide to leave, but the elevator does not work, and a fallen tree has blocked the exit door. Supposedly during all of this time, there's a storm happening as well. They are hearing it on the radio. They're hearing sounds of thunder. And an unseen figure leaves bruises on Tommy when he goes to the bathroom.
What the hell was that?
Ooh. Thank God. This is Tommy Tilden. It's an emergency. We need help.
Sorry, trouble hearing.
Put Burke on the line.
It's Burke.
Sheldon, it's Tommy. You better get over here now.
Tommy, I can kind of hear you. You're breaking up.
Sheldon, we're trapped down here, goddamn. Sheldon, please.
It's her. Everything was fine until Brooke wheeled her through that door.
Sam.
Until we cut into her.
You're talking about a corpse.
These things we found inside her. Her injuries. Those marks. Can't say she's just a body.
So they return to the autopsy room and again examine the corpse. And when the door locks itself, Austin hacks it with an emergency axe. Through an opening, they see one of the missing corpses. And unable to get to the cremation furnace, they just are like, fuck it. We're going to set this bitch on fire. And so they do. And the fire spreads rapidly. And Tommy puts it out with a extinguisher, but is disturbed to find the body has not burned. She is in pristine condition still. So when the elevator turns back on, Tommy and Austin try to escape, but the doors will not close. Panicked, Tommy uses an axe against what he believes to be one of the animated corpses. But when he and Austin exit the elevator, they discover he has killed Emma, Austin's girlfriend, who had returned to meet Austin.
Oh no, no. Oh my god. Oh no. No. Oh no.
Oh my God.
No.
Come on, man. Come on. Come on, son.
So certain that Jane Doe's corpse has been preventing them from finding out the truth about her death, they return to the examination room. And to their shock and amazement, Jane Doe's neurons remain active. Therefore, she is biologically alive. And further examination of the cloth determines the markings refer to Leviticus 20:27, which condemns witches, and the year 1693, which is the date of the Salem witch trials. Tommy reasons that in their attempt to punish a witch, the Salem authorities instead transform an innocent woman into a witch, rendering her immortal and allowing her to feel all of the pain her body endures, even though she appears dead. So Tommy offers himself to the corpse as a sacrifice, hoping she will spare Austin. Tommy's ankles and wrists shatter like hers, mimicking the corpse's wounds. And as the wounds occur to Tommy, the corpse's own wounds begin to heal and her eyes return to their original color. And as Tommy reaches for a knife to cut out his own tongue and complete the ritual, Austin stabs his father in the chest to end his misery. Believing he hears the sheriff outside, Austin approaches, but quickly realizes the voice is another hallucination. And startled by a vision of his dad's corpse, Austin trips over the railing and falls to his death. The police arrive the next morning and are confused by another inexplicable crime scene. And the corpse, still showing no signs of trauma, is taken to Virginia Commonwealth University. And during the ambulance ride, the radio spontaneously turns on, playing that song again. And we have the bell again on the toe, and the corpse's toe twitches, ringing the bell. And that is the autopsy of Jane Doe. Excuse me. So, coming from the success of the film Troll Hunter, Overdahl stated that he wanted to prove something. Specifically that he could do more than found footage style films. He stated, quote, "It's just a very specific style that you need to get into specifically for that project." So actually, The Conjuring proved to be a spark of inspiration for him. And he said, quote, "It was such a classical horror movie that came at a time where all these movies had tried to do all kinds of different stuff. And then suddenly it was like getting back to basics." And after watching the film, Overdahl told his agency he wanted to, quote, "find a pure horror script," which resulted in him being sent The Autopsy of Jane Doe. And actually the script had previously appeared on the annual Blacklist. For those of you who don't know what the Blacklist is, those are basically screenplays that have been around and have not yet been picked up or made yet. And it's a pretty famous list. Martin Sheen was initially cast as Tommy, but he pulled out. Although there are some, again, prosthetics used, actress Owen Kelly did most of the work. And he also said that Kelly had the most difficult role in the film, and he really credited her with making everyone else comfortable on the set. And she was the first person interviewed for the role. Overdahl said they performed further interviews afterwards, but he instantly knew she was right for the role. And so production in the UK began in London on March 30th, 2015. The production was filmed at Home Farm in Selling, Kent, which doubled as the exterior and kitchen of the Tilden family home. The Autopsy of Jane Doe premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 9th, 2016. It was released in the U.S. on December 21st, 2016. Dennis Harvey of Variety called it a, quote, taut yet often slightly funny scarefest, although he said the climax was unfulfilling. Though he praised the acting, Stephen Dalton of The Hollywood Reporter called the film a, quote, unsatisfactory compromise of art house and exploitation film. I don't know about exploitation film. I mean, is it just because she's naked all the time, like for the whole time? It doesn't feel like an exploitation film, I have to say. Richard Whitaker of the Austin Chronicle wrote that Overdahl, quote, constructs a sinister claustrophobia, then elegantly and disturbingly unwraps the enigma. Joe Lipset of Bloody Disgusting rated it 5 out of 5 stars and wrote, quote, Overdahl masterfully balances the requisite gore with some well-earned jump scares and a foreboding sense of doom. Writing at Dread Central, Ari Drew described it as, quote, mostly effective. Drew complimented the acting, but criticized the film's exposition and scripting near the end. The film has a Metacritic score of 65, a Rotten Tomatoes score of 86%, and a Letterboxd rating of 3.2 out of 5. For me, I would probably give this one, I'd say a solid 7 out of 10. For me, the strongest aspect of this film is the mystery of Jane Doe, and more so the uncovering of that mystery. As the father and son are kind of digging deeper and deeper into this body, pulling apart skin, removing organs and bones, and it's graphic, but it's very clinical. I mean, it's obviously looks like what an autopsy would be. They're very matter of fact. They know how to do this job. They know the things to look for. And, I enjoyed that there is that factor of kind of squeamishness and, gore, but he also carefully chooses shots to better complement both his strengths and weaknesses given the props that they use. And I never felt really taken out of this movie, particularly when they are doing the autopsy stuff, because as they remove like the rib cage and the liver and they're peeling back the skin and searching methodically for a cause of death, it's like with every organ opened, discovered, there's a new wound to be found internally, and they're all impossible to explain. And that is only until Austin and Tommy kind of remove themselves from the equation and consider the paranormal ramifications. Because they're like, it can't be this, it can't be this. They're coming into things that are contradicting everything that they know about death and medical science. And, there's obviously grisly medical gore, but this film isn't about gore. It's really about the secrets that are revealed as are central to some work on the body. And the more and more they unveil, the scarier the film and Jane Doe herself become. And honestly, how one woman laying still for a whole movie can unnerve the viewer simply by doing nothing is really down to the director's skills and also down to, Cox and Hirsch's acting abilities. Cox is always great to watch, and his performance is no different here. He's kind of, obviously the dad, and we get, he's got this sense of disbelief, but also like once he kind of realizes and accepts, there's this dread that's there and permeates him. And, we feel confident with him wielding the scalpel, and for, a good while, it's just another mystery to be solved. But then it just completely changes, and it's like, oh shit, this is like more than just that. And I thought Emile Hirsch was really great in it too. Him and Cox were, really good together. And I think it's what I liked about it, and I think that the part until it kind of tends to go like more and more supernatural, like getting really towards the end. I think that's the strongest part about it is seeing them try and unravel this mystery. And people who know me know that I love a good mystery. I am all about the mysteries. But the director also does there's good effective use of setting the space. The morgue is dark, can be a little bit poorly lit, but it does seem clinical. there's noises in the pipes and creaks that, kind of call out regularly. And the score is really effective. When it they start going into the autopsy, it's like, all right, it kind of gets you pumped about, let's figure this out. Let's solve this, and we're, set upon eventually by not only the mystery of what killed Jane Doe, but by something else in the dark that comes with her. And that is ultimately exacerbated as they, peel back her skin and discover the final clues. And, excuse me. So it does a good job. It does a fine job. This movie is solid, but my issue with it, and why I don't give it a higher rating, is it doesn't quite go all the way for me. And I think, when I was watching this film again, I was really trying to figure out, what is it? Why doesn't it, everything is kind of here that should make it a really great film. And I like this film, but I'm like, why don't I love it? And I think it's because there isn't enough to kind of bring everything together. Because I found that I was kind of like, there are these questions that I still have that aren't answered, or that aren't given me enough context. Like, she was found buried in the basement of that house, but how was she there? How long was she there? What were the circumstances of those people finding her? So we're missing a bit more connective tissue because we only get the people were trying to break out of the house. Like, even if we got something like they were doing some work down in the basement, and then like we see some tools or bags of concrete when the police, are down there investigating, even that visual clue alone would have given us some more context to help to kind of bring things more together. Like I said, maybe were they burying her or were they digging her up? So we get a lot of answers as to the mystery of Jane Doe, but we still don't quite get enough. And I think that was the issue for me, was I just need a little bit more about the circumstances as to her being found than I got. But nevertheless, it's I really enjoy this film. It's very tightly focused. I like that it's like barely any cast in it. It's really focused on the father and son. It's tricky when you do films like that because really everything rests on not just those, your main performers, Emil and Cox, but you're also really relying on the script as well. And that has to be good. And the script is fine. It's, not the best thing, but it works. It's, the performances anchor it, and it really manages to create this atmosphere where it seems kind of wild that as you're going along, the scariest thing in this film is this young woman on, a slab, and she does not move, and she manages to be the most terrifying aspect of this film. So it comes down to, a lot of things. I just wish that there had been, again, a little bit more of context for her and why she was there at the first place to kind of like help things along a little bit more. But saying that, it's a great film. It's enjoyable. It's not too long, and very effective. So the movie is available to watch on Shudder, AMC Plus, YouTube, Sling TV, the Roku channel, Amazon Prime, Philo, Apple TV, Google Play, Fandango at Home, and CW. And that was The Autopsy of Jane Doe. And now let's head over to the Horror Files News Corner. Master of Horror John Carpenter will be honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on April 3rd at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Steve Neeson will serve as MC for the event, with guest speakers to be announced. The dedication ceremony will be live streamed on the Walk of Fame website. The press release notes, quote, "Few filmmakers have had as galvanizing and enduring an impact on cinema as John Carpenter. As director, writer, producer, and composer, Carpenter has brought to the screen some of the most popular and influential films in history. Starting out with his 1978 breakthrough, a low-budget horror film called Halloween, which shook both moviegoers and the film industry with a force that continues to be felt nearly 50 years later. Located at 7000 Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, Carpenter's marks the 2,806th star. Embedded in the sidewalk along Hollywood Boulevard and Vine Street, quote, "The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is proud to pay tribute to director John Carpenter with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame," said Hollywood Walk of Fame producer Anna Martinez. "He has forever shaped the horror genre and has created lasting cinematic masterpieces. It is an honor to dedicate a star to such a talented and influential director." Nightmare on Elm Street icon Robert Englund and Predator actor Bill Duke are also among the honorees who will receive stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this year. Very exciting to see. And this was a great week for horror collectibles being released, and here's a couple of the greatest ones I think unveiled this week. First up, there is a David Lynch's Blue Velvet on vinyl from Coda. The soundtrack is available on a 2 LP vinyl for $55 from Coda. Disc 1 has the original score by Angelo Badalamenti, who also did Twin Peaks and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, plus Bobby Vinton's Blue Velvet, while Disc 2 features film cues, alternates, and outtakes, collectively entitled Lumberton Firewood. 2 180-gram color variants are available. Blue on Blue Marble, which is a Coda exclusive and limited to 1,500. And Metallic Silver, Mutant exclusive, limited to 500. It's housed in a gatefold jacket with artwork by Greg Ruth inside a transparent blue O-card. Next, Frankenhooker shirt from The Last Toy Store. The Last Toy Store brings Frankenhooker to life on a shirt designed by Suspiria Vilches. What a great name, Suspiria Vilches. You know her parents were horror fans. 3 different tie-dye variants. There's Flo, Barbados, and Voodoo are available for $30, along with black comfort colors tees for $32, and they ship in about 5 to 7 weeks. We also have a Vampire figure from Super 7. They have released a Monster Glow variant of its Vampira Reaction Figure Retro Style toy. Priced at $25, the glow-in-the-dark horror hostess stands 3.75 inches tall and has 5 points of articulation. We also have Stephen King Lost Boys Scream Hats from Inked Up merch. Inked Up locates some killer horror destinations on embroidered hats, and the first wave includes Stephen King's Castle Rock, Maine for $23, Santa Carla, California from the Lost Boys for $25, and Woodsboro, California from Scream for $23. And last up, we have a Deep Blue Sea t-shirt from Cavity Colors. It's available on t-shirts for $30, tie-dye tees for $30, comfort color shirts for $34, baseball tees for $38, and long sleeves for $40. Pre-orders for the Deep Blue shirts, Deep Blue Sea shirts are open until Tuesday, March 25th, and will ship the week of April 25th. So Warner Brothers has shifted its upcoming release rescheduling, resulting in new dates for 3 highly anticipated genre titles. Weapons, Zach Krieger's follow-up to Barbarian, has been bumped up to August 8th, 2025, previously scheduled for January 16th of next year. Hey, that's my birthday. The summer release shows the studio's confidence in the project. Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Benedict Wong, Austin Abrams, Amy Madigan, and June Diane Raphael star in the horror epic about a small community after a group of kids mysteriously disappear overnight. Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, originally due out on September 26, 2025, has been pushed to March 6, 2026, a time frame that WB has found success with big genre projects. Inspired by Bride of Frankenstein, the monster movie stars Jessie Buckley, Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Peter Skarsgård, and Annette Bening. Flowervale Street, from It Follows writer-director David Robert Mitchell, has moved from March 13, 2026 to August 14, 2026 in an effort to take advantage of late summer audiences. Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor, Maisie Stella, and Christian Convery star in the mysterious sci-fi thriller produced by Bad Robot. Other upcoming genre films on WB's schedule include Sinners on April 18th, Final Destination Bloodlines on May 16th, The Conjuring Last Rites on September 5th, Mortal Kombat 2 on October 24th, and in 2026, the studio will release an untitled horror movie on March 27th, an untitled Blumhouse Atomic Monster film on April 17th, and Clayface on September 11th. And that's it for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you can find me on Letterboxd, Twitter, and Threads at Dead Alive Dana. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes or movies for me to talk about, you can email me at deadalivedana@gmail.com. And until next time, monsters, stay safe, and most importantly, stay spooky.